friends and families, yes, I was just looking at Kaietuer News, and I was looking at the Freddie Kissoon column, David Granger, on the electoral value of Charrandass, Persaud, by no other than Freddie Kissoon, an amazing intellectual hero, a leader, historian, politician, political analyst. He's not really a politician, but an analyst, and an intellectual of high caliber. And I'm looking at this article, and I thought that I should probably give you some snippets out of it and maybe some of my own commentary. But first of all, I, your brother, in the raw, Hajji, Dr. Roshan, reflecting upon what is happening in Guyana and the insanity, the total absurd mentality of a man who is supposed to be a shadow president, the opposition leader, who constantly makes such absurd statements and claims, even to the point of becoming a master obfuscationist, manipulator, political trickster, and liar. Well, I know a lot of politicians would lie because they want power, just like lawyers. They just lie to win a case, to get the money and to mislead people and to disaffect law and order in a nation. Anyway, that's why I never studied law, because I have to tell a lie in order to eat for the rest of my life. In most cases. Some of them do smart and they go into things like real estate and counseling for divorce and try to unite families and constitutional matters and the creation of laws and so on. So friends and families, with Harmon, who is a lawyer, truly a masterful lawyer in lying, I would say, and trying to play an artful. Someday I wonder if that guy is in his right senses, ladies and gentlemen. Or he has really gone down the mental ladder of elegance and decency. Now, I'm truly worried because this man is calling upon the world, the United Nations, who have so much of disrespect for him, and by extent, his party. Now, I'm no hater of the People's National Congress. As a matter of fact, those of you who know me, I'm actually a great friend of the PNC, particularly since the time of Hugh Desmond Hoyt. I made this clear to you. And I always wished them well and always would support them when they were in government for positive things, to a point where I disagreed with certain things and I had to pronounce. And as Gaskin said, the son-in-law of the former president said, not because someone's correct you or guide you is that person your enemy. But the PNC seems to think as soon as somebody corrects them or is not with them on a particular item, that person becomes their enemy, so to say. And that is the sad thing, that they have alienated a man of the wisdom and the brilliance of Mr. Gaskin. As a matter of fact, if I was in the current government and I had the power, I would have brought that man in as a principal and intellectual he is, so that he could be a part of a board of directors, board of governors, of some institution or whatever, because I find him to be extremely brilliant and elegant. But look, that's another topic for another time, as the case may be. So friends and families, this man, in his total idiocy or idiotic proclivity, and I would say assassinity, the word that Freddie Kissoon likes to use quite a lot, a master in asinine politics and gross ignoramus behavior. And I don't usually use these kinds of words. I'm more of a diplomatic kinds of person. But there are certain times you have to use this. As he says, he is a yard bully. a backyard boy, a yard bully, so to say. And he's proud about it. Instead of extolling the brilliance and the wisdom and the elegance of politics and political drama, style, and diplomacy to win hearts and minds. Now, I know there are some people, just because you are of a particular ethnicity and because you are in a political entity, just out of ethnicity, people just like a maniac vote for you, both sides, everywhere, all countries. But here is a man who could truly win the hearts and minds of people, as Hugh Desmond Hoy did. But he's not looking at that. He's looking at this power thing and is actually creating the culture of more assassinity in the opposition benches, as we saw in recently. Lies, drama, one of his main spokesperson lying down as if drunk but not drunk, full in his belly with food, and lying down in Parliament, another one telling lies on another opposition, telling lies on the current government minister, parliamentarian and minister within the ministry, and trying to destroy a man's character because he's known to be somewhat of a dynamic, brilliant educator as a young man, having grown up as a teenager in political education through the media, and I'm talking about Kwame McCoy. So they're trying to use him because he's known to have some elegant way of speaking firmly and correcting assassinatives and nonsensicalities. So they tried to set him up. With that in mind, I think the former minister, Ms. Hajji, Sarabito Hajji, not only owes an apology, but for wasting the police time, she needs to be charged. But this is what my point is, that Mr. Harmon, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen, has been creating and showing the example instead of maturity. Now, many of the people who have left them didn't vote at all, and who voted for the PPP and some of the other smaller parties will never return. It's just like when you go into a store and you want to buy something, and you're a regular customer, and the shopkeeper is not paying any attention to you, and you are not being treated well, and he loses you because you had to go. And then when he loses you, the customer never comes back. It's the same thing with politics. They don't come back unless you truly undergo a metamorphosis of brilliance and wisdom. Because not everyone out there who support the APNO or the PNC with its smaller parties, I don't want to say minions. AFC is a spent shell, wasted, a charity case, a basket case, and surviving because of the whims of kindness of the opposition, giving them 9 free seats, which they could not have bring a third of 1 seat, or 10% of 1 seat. But ladies and gentlemen, that's where they're generous and very kind. Because they're being political too, they want to show inclusivity. So I'm wondering, where is the APNO AFC going? And because a country needs a strong opposition, not a vulgar, a strong, educative, brilliant, wise opposition, a stalwart in wisdom and knowledge and philosophy, and learning to win hearts and minds. So far, all they continue to do is to reach out to parts of its base that the government is taking care of to get them to disassociate, misbehave, and with some nonsensical protests and so on. So because the government side is doing so much, obviously. And I'm speaking very fairly here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Mr. Harmon, I feel sorry, man, Mr. Harmon. What are you doing, man? You're destroying a great party. Even Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham never behaved with the kind of a shenaniganistic, idiotic behavior that you are trying to do. No one, nowhere, Mr. Harmon, you truly are a letdown and a total disgrace. And even in the opposition, you're trying to destroy, through people still in government, others whom you see as not toe-sucking or toeing to what you think should be the way. You're still trying to destroy, as you did with me, and many, many others. But look, like I said, everything is in the hands of God, and whatever you were doing to me and others, and the favorites, especially the Indo big shot favorites that you had, and you were giving all the opportunities to, you and them are facing the consequences. Friends and families, brothers, sisters, ladies and gentlemen. So, Mr. Harmon, how you could appeal to the United Nations, to the CARICOM, to the head, like a yard bully. You like to show that you're a bad man, but humbled with a begging bowl. You know, with a begging bowl, like your hands like that, like with a begging bowl. How can you do that and go to Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and the current chair of CARICOM, to beg, to mediate your party's recognition? I still believe that with proper leadership, that the People's National Congress, one of the earliest and powerful party of great principles, if you read the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who don't know, if you read the Constitution of the People's National Congress, you will tremble, you will shake, you will be in a status of amazing shock that the brains that went in the creation of that Constitution. But Constitution, creation, and reality of practice are two different things. And the man who did it was Hugh Desmond Hoyt. Make Hugh Desmond Hoyt and even Robert Corbyn your heroes, your leaders in spirit and philosophy, Mr. Harmon. You cannot, Mr. Harmon, wish for the government to recognize you. They're working in Parliament. You're getting your perks of Parliament. Most times you're not there, even for the entire budget. And I understand. I think of shame for a budget like that, for you to oppose it. How could you? So you had to skulldugger. You had to hide in the bushes as a yard bully does. As you call yourself, you know, not me. You say so. As a yard bully does when they're taught their lesson and they have met their match. Brilliance, brains of Ashley Singh, Bharat Jagdeo, President Dr. Irfan Ali, the brains versus the brawn, the mouth and the muscles, for which some have a tendency of proclivity, ladies and gentlemen, friends and families. So, you cannot expect to be recognized and awarded opportunities, Mr. Harmon, and for the government of Guyana and the president to recognize you when you misbehave like a miscreant. And that is a word that Forbes Burnham liked, miscreants. And he will use words, and so I will use it on him and some of his people in Parliament. Miscreants, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen. And so he needs to wake up, smell the coffee. I cannot want to be in good terms with my boss if I'm rude, pompous, deceitful, dishonest, lying, throwing tantrums, and then want the boss to give me promotion. You have to use that diplomacy of positivity and the vision of good. So my words to Mr. Harmon today, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, wake up and smell the coffee. Or, Mr. Harmon, take your pipe, smoke it very deep, put a hard smoke, hold it in, and hold it there for the rest of your life and don't breathe. And then maybe you will wake. Dearest beloved friends and families, let us work as a people of all religions, of all ethnicities or races, of all classes, for everyone is important, from the street cleaner is the most important, to the cane cutter, to the farmer, to the clerks, to the middle management, to the technicians, the artisans, the carpenters, the masons, the managers, the directors, the people with the visionary to create the opportunities. All in all, stand hand in hand as one great human family under God with one people, one nation, one destiny. Friends and family, in the raw, your friend and brother, me, Hajji, Dr. Roshan Khan, saying thank you and farewell.